right, welcome to ShyGround.com. It's brilliant.
So, what up, world? It's your boy, Sam. I am the MC from the south side of Chicago, 87th and Stony. Man, I got the new album coming out called I Want to MC For You. The current album out is called The Taste. Make sure y'all get that. You know, it's a melting pot of different styles and variations, and the current rhyme spitters for all city Chicago freestyle champ, ready to get it in.
Tell me, what is the difference, between, a freestylist, and just and a regular artist who's just pushing out albums?
I'll start by, speaking on the regular artist. The regular artist is somebody who is more so into, crafting songs. They want to get a concept together. They want to put their 16 bars together. They want to get their hook, their bridge, their melody, and these things are very important when you're trying to, come up with material that's considered catchy or you want it to get played on the radio. But as far as a freestyle MC, now I'm not speaking on the artist part, but as far as a freestyle MC, we are concerned with looking at what's in our environment and trying to make a rhyme out of it, or trying to take everyday language and flip it, or just take words that we know how, to rhyme with and just chop up words that shouldn't even rhyme with each other, and just different metaphors, simile, syntax, all of these different things that we bring in and just try to go to the next level mentally. That's what freestyling is all about. If somebody says something and then you flip it and make it creative as a diss or a metaphor or a simile or a pun or alliteration, you know what I mean? The freestyle MC is trying to get to the highest level of lyricism as possible. I consider myself an artist and a freestyle MC because I like to craft songs, craft albums, and then at the same time I like to just let my mind wander, so there you go.
And it's all, and none of it premeditated.
Yeah, none of it's premeditated, none of it's off the top. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people who claim that they're freestyling, but it is not a freestyle. It's definitely either premeditated or written, or, all of the above. But one thing that you have to be looking out for is if somebody says that they're freestyling, if they're battling an opponent, if they're not rapping specifically about that person's appearance, or if they're not what we call flipping a line, like if their opponent says something and they don't say something in refutation to that specifically, then the freestyle is definitely questionable. So that's why whenever I freestyle, I make sure that whatever is in the remote environment, I definitely incorporate that, and also just throw in some sick wordplay with that and make it happen.
Outstanding. You know what they say, and not every freestyle is free.
Right. You really want to chop up. You want to chop up your opponent. You definitely want to look for the flaws. Whatever rhyme scheme you're trying to do, you want to do that. I know with me, before I battle or go into like huge battles, I put myself through what I call like freestyle boot camp. Which is crazy. I take maybe 100 different words, write them all down, and force myself to freestyle about all of them. Take instrumentals from many different tempos and variations and force myself to freestyle. So that way you can get your cadence up. You know what I mean? Practice multi-syllables and, sometimes battling myself, in the mirror. Like you have you already know certain opponents that you're gonna deal with. So some people, they write for their opponents, and me, I'll just freestyle practice battling about that opponent, because a lot of MCs on the scene are familiar faces, just like if you go to a neighborhood bar, you see Uncle Larry every Tuesday.
Right.
You know that if you get into it with somebody at the bar, it's probably going to be Uncle Larry. It's the same thing with the battle, situation and everything. So, it's many different ways to mentally prepare. I think that freestyling is a very spiritual thing for me. I'm not saying that I'm psychic. I'm not saying I have ESP or even ESPN, but I can definitely say that freestyle MCs is something special. Just to be able to just pull things and just think so quickly on your feet and then just really chop it up. It's definitely a science.
Get your lyrical Miss Cleo on.
I predict that I'm jealous.
Say my head, cool, no. Well, that started out as about rap, is that correct?
Well, it's funny because I started rap when I was 5, and I was back in '87, so in kindergarten, and I always tell this story. But back in kindergarten, everybody was bored one day, so they were like, well, let's have a little talent show. So I got up in front of the class and I was like, bubble gum, yum, yum, yum. When my stomach hurts, I eat Tums. Because I remember Tums, you know. And I told my mom about it, and as soon as I told her about it, she gave me like a 70-page single notebook. You know, it's just totally blank, and then I filled it up from page 1 to page 70, just filled with raps, and then I just never ever stopped doing that. And I have at least like 2,000 of those from '87 to now. So I've been like rapping like hardcore since '87. And my father, he's an engineer and a DJ, and in '92 he would allow me to go in the basement and start recording rap. So I've been recording rap since '92. I've been freestyling since '93, been DJing since like '94, and I've been battling MC since like '95. So, you know, I'm like an old school hip hop head in a regular age body, I would say. But I've definitely been around the block. But that's how I started rapping, and you know, just making underground tapes and just going to places like The Point. And when I was at Kilwood Academy from high school and everything, it was just like surrounding myself with, you know, the cream of the crop, and just always trying to push myself to the next level. And I always listened to MCs who I felt could take me to the next level as far as when I was trying to inspire myself to be that lyricist, because it's just like everybody's like, okay, well, who's the greatest lyricist? And I always told myself, like, when I'm reading The Source, and when I'm reading Double XL, and when I'm reading all of these magazines, I want them to break down my lyrics, and I want them to, you know, say, hey, you know, Sam Wayne was one of the greatest MCs of all time. So I just figured I gotta put in the work to get there.
It sounded like your family actually supported you, or gave you, and you know, they saw something in you, and they went on ahead and laid the groundwork so that you could, you know, accomplish it.
Right. They might not sit down and actually listen to the rap, but they definitely provided the studio. You know how you go in the laundry room or whatever, but you know, you can hear the dryer in the background, but I'm like, whatever, I'm still rapping, you know, I'm doing my thing. But it's just really all about just having the hunger from within. I was always writing raps, and I was always freestyling and breakdancing and DJing, and you know, doing graffiti and everything like that. And you know, you just always got to have that passion. Like right now, you know, I'm a kind of a corporate dude a little bit, but at the same time, it doesn't stop you from earning your stripes. So
tell me something. What made you choose the rapping aspect?
I think rapping always came to me. You know, like I think I've always known how to rap. Like there wasn't a time where I listened to a rap and I was like, oh, you know, I want to be a rapper now. You know, I was just always rapping. Like it was just natural for me. I think that was just something that just naturally came to me. I just naturally know how to freestyle and naturally know how to rap. And of course, in the midst of that naturalness, you have to, you know, write and you know, help craft it or whatever. But, you know, it's just like, you know, Michael Jordan, I think he's definitely the greatest basketball player of all time. But a lot of that is some God-given talent. Of course, you have to refine it and everything like that. But I think just for certain things, you know, it's just God-given talent. And it's up to you to shape it and finesse it and bless it. And I think that's how I felt about rap. That's why I won't stop.
Sure.
In the crowd, there's no time for sitting down, 'cause everyone is getting wild.